All right, since we were discussing device security, I thought it might be prudent to go in and take a brief look at some of the security components built into an Android tablet or phone. Now, I am using a simple tool here. It's called My Mobiler, which has simply given me the ability to project my tablet screen right onto the computer so that we can follow along and see what's going on. Now, I can't do anything other than remotely manage it, surprisingly. So I'm going to go down here now, and I'm going to click on About Device. The only reason I did this is I want you to see that I'm using Android version 4.2.2. Now, this particular tablet is simply an older Samsung Galaxy Tab 2, and I just grabbed one of the older ones that was not in use because I didn't want to have all my stuff installed. Keep it clean for this demo. All right, so we go up here and we can check that we are up to date. Software update, click on update, and it's connecting to the server through wireless. It's going to tell us that the latest updates have already been installed. Now, you may or may not have already noticed that on to the bottom left here, there is this thing that says Developer Options. Now, in this particular version of Android, you have to tap the build number 7 times in order to enable the developer option. In other Android versions, it's a simple checkbox under the app setting. I'm going to click on Developer Options. This is not something that you would normally do. It's called Developer Options for a reason. You can see here that I have USB debugging on. Now, it just so happens in order for me to make use of the app My Mobiler and to have this connect through USB, I'm required to enable USB debugging. That's why I am making use of it and why what you see here is going on. Now, you can look down through and you can see there are some components here that are tied into this. You can make the screen never sleep while it's charging. You can also use full desktop backups, so you can see full desktop backups are not currently protected in our case here. That's the desktop backup. You can encrypt those or password protect them if you wanted to. Something that is not done by default. That's something that's kind of nice to know about, actually. Now, a lot of the rest of these are really just making use of fixing or updating applications. Now, there's not a whole lot more to it than that with regards to developer options, so let's go ahead and come up here to security. Now, with security, we do have quite a few options built right in. The newer Android devices may have all of these and maybe a little bit even more. So we've got to encrypt this device. The password required to decrypt device needs to be entered each time. We could, if we wanted to, choose to encrypt the device, and it's going to go through. You'll need to set an unlock password of, remember, at least 6 characters containing 1 number. Now, there are a few different components associated with that. We can encrypt the device. That's something that is built into this. You can also encrypt the external data on your SD card. So there's another option. Currently, that's turned off, but we can turn that on here. We do have to set a screen lock first, so that's the first thing that it's telling us. Hey, look, none of this stuff is going to be available until you set a screen lock. Go figure. All right. Cool. So you should have noticed right away that I didn't have a screen lock, and that's okay. This is just for demo purposes. Again, we're trying to keep it just streamlined. I didn't put any of that stuff on because of that reason, and so there's your reason. Now, notice this. We've got this go to the Find My Mobile web. So we can see here that we can actually set this device up through Samsung so that if it's lost, we can find it. Now, that's some pretty cool stuff. We're not going to continue to look through this. I just wanted you to see that it was available. One of the things we should always do, though, is compare the built-in features to what a third-party tool could do for us. So keep in mind that the owner of the tablet is the one that's going to have access to all of this. So let's go ahead and go back. We can go to Find Your Tablet or your phone. You can choose whether or not you're going to make your passwords visible. I would suggest not making your passwords visible for all the reasons you already know, but notice that it is checked here. We can set up device administrators and users. So now as a company, if you are going to be providing phones, you can come in here and create administrators, meaning that a user would not be able to change the settings in the background of this. And that would be something that only an administrator could do. Little control there for you. Do you see this right here? Now this is really scary. It's called unknown sources. Allow installation of apps from unknown sources other than the Play Store. That is checked here. That is not a good idea. You might find this interesting. That was necessary for a tool like MyMobiler to work. So there's some irony there. And why is that? Because this was not something that was in the App Store when I installed it. I had to go off-site. So that's not something that I would recommend for you to allow just anyone to do. But hey, I've got to make a few mistakes so you guys can see that there could be some potential issues here. But I'm admitting my mistakes. All right. So that is also why I didn't use my personal tablet. This was one that had been wiped, and I'm just, again, using it for demo purposes. All right. Now we can also, and you'll notice I don't even have this one checked. You can also verify the apps. Block or warn before installing apps because they may cause harm. All right. So now this thing here is going to try to verify that the app that you have installed is what is actually in the Play Store. So let's just pretend for a moment that somebody has, let's say they tampered with an app in the Play Store and they were able to get a virus embedded in it. Now on the back end, these app stores should have a signature of each one of the actual apps. And once you've downloaded it, it's going to go on to verify whether or not the signature of the app you downloaded matches that signature that they actually have in their inventory. And if it doesn't, it will block or warn you so you can decide whether or not you want to install it. So that's where that comes in. And then, of course, we have our trusted credentials. We can even install credentials from a device storage. So that's it. That's what we have available to us in these security components. Now, did you see any kind of remote wipe feature? There isn't one in this particular version of Android. However, we do know that Samsung has released that with their latest versions, and we do have other options as well that we're going to take a look at. All right, but these are some of the built-in security mechanisms associated with your Android tablet, and specifically the Android version 4.2.2.